I'm Madhu Sharma and this is Design Mind. Every episode we teach your mind about design by analysing a website. In this episode of Design Mind, we are going to learn how to create a well-designed online publication by analysing Polygon. This is an American video game website that publishes news, culture, reviews and videos. The articles on the site tend to be quite lengthy, but it does an excellent job at maintaining engagement. Let's start by analysing the home page. The site begins with this grid that highlights key stories. It's quite unusual as the content is displayed even before the site name and navigation. However, it works really well as the user is quickly directed to stories from the moment they visit the website. The tiles are tinted to match the red and black colour scheme of the Polygon logo. This not only subtly reinforces the brand, but it also creates a common connection between the diverse images. However, the downside of this tinting is that it lessens the impact of the images. All in all, I would say the tint is unnecessary, especially as the grid has a rigid structure, and so already does a good job of bringing order to the images. Underneath is the navigation bar. When scrolling past the opening tiles, it docks to the top of the screen. This is quite sensible as it can now adhere to the familiar conventions of the web. The navigation actually has some other excellent features, but we will look at them later on. Go down and we get the top story. The layout is excellent. The large left image attracts attention, which will then naturally flow to the bold headline on the right. The text treatment is interesting, as instead of using a teaser to explain the story, it displays the body copy of the article. A fading effect is used to trim it. I'm in two minds about this design. On the one hand, if the user starts reading, they'll probably become interested to see the full story. On the other hand, this is a lot of text to use for what is essentially a teaser, which can make it a little bit off-putting. Plus, if the reader does get hooked and decides to read the rest of the story, having to click on the link and then wait for the page to load is very jarring, and it spoils the flow of the experience. The story also makes use of this folded paper corner. It's presumably there to add a bit of visual variety, but I think it only serves to clutter up the page. Next up is this grid of highlighted videos. I like how they have worked in the Polygon branding into the play button. Most sites don't really do anything with such buttons, so it's great to see a bit of thought gone into it. The edges of the video have also been cut. While it makes the tile resemble a video game SD card, I think it only creates clutter, although it's hardly a major issue. The rest of the page is an example of an endless scroller, as it keeps on loading up content. The layout is brilliant. Content tends to take up one column of the three-column grid. However, there are some instances that expand into all the columns and even out of the grid. This use of variety is brilliant as it helps to direct user attention. One aspect I really like is the use of fonts. The bold font used for the headline is eye-catching without being overpowering. The smaller font used for the copy is ideal for long passages, as it fits more text into the area. At the same time, it has a clean look that stops the lengthy text from being overwhelming. Let's analyse the article pages. The article pages are brilliantly done. They do have a lot of content, but they manage to avoid being too busy, thanks to a number of key features. The first is the use of this white area and neutral colour background. It helps to direct the user's gaze to focus on the content. This is important, as the advertisement that is outside the white area is quite dominating, so the coloured backgrounds help to direct attention to the content. In addition, the empty area creates a breathing space that balances the dense content section. Perhaps the only drawback is that by making the white area more defined, the content can suffer from feeling trapped and boxed in. However, the advantages outweigh this minor issue. Another key feature is the excellent use of hierarchy. The article area is fairly clutter-free, consisting of just the article, an advertisement, and a top stories area. Quite wisely, the top story area omits the photo thumbnails that we saw on the home page, and this ensures that the section is not overly distracting. The photo thumbnails do return, but only once the user has scrolled past the actual article. Admittedly, this area does suffer from being too distracting, but as the article is no longer present, it's not an issue. Under the thumbnails is the comment section. On popular websites such as Polygon, comments can suffer from being too long. However, Polygon breaks the comments up into various threads by indenting replies, making it easy to follow conversations. One really great feature is that new comments are highlighted in yellow. Polygon takes comment efficiency further by providing a range of keyboard shortcuts. These will probably be complicated for all but the most advanced users, so hiding them away is quite wise. Let's look at the review pages. The review pages start with this full screen splash. The article intrudes into the image space, allowing the user's eyes to naturally flow from the opening to the text. The effect is wonderful, as it produces a dramatic, eye-catching start to the review that is full of impact and engagement. The actual reviews are quite lengthy, but Polygon uses a variety of devices to break them up, including full-width images, inline images, pull quotes, and this wrap-up section that summarizes the review. These devices are excellent at maintaining engagement. However, it would have been nice if they'd included a few devices to aid skim reading, such as using subheadlines and bullet points. Then again, the audience have come to the site for long-form reviews and so probably won't want to skim read. Let's analyze the navigation. As we discussed earlier, the navigation consists of a sticky header, which ensures that it is always accessible. The use of mega menus is especially impressive. Each menu contains a list of links on the left, while the main area showcases key content. It works really well at exposing the user to stories without bombarding them. The navigation also has this handy back to top button that, as you'd expect, takes the user back to the top. Although it probably would have been a good idea to hide it when the user is already at the top. Let's analyze the site on mobile. The mobile version is broadly similar to the desktop site. The main difference is that the content has been slimmed down. For example, these images are much smaller. On the story previews, the text has been eliminated. The mobile content pages are quite similar to the desktop version. The main difference is that the comments are hidden away. The user has to tap a button to load them. Most of the other sections have also been slimmed down, reducing the amount of scrolling required, resulting in a more streamlined mobile experience. The biggest change to the mobile version is the navigation. It is no longer stuck to the top, which is a bit of a shame, as having it instantly accessible would be useful on mobile. The drop-down menus are replaced with a single hamburger menu. This would have been a really good idea if it weren't for the fact that the menu is quite large and so awkward to browse. Overall, the mobile site is excellent, as the changes allow for the content to be more accessible and easier to browse. In conclusion, Polygon is a wonderful example of how to create an online publication. It is extremely good at highlighting content and organising its vast array of stories. The actual articles themselves have plenty of impact and offer a reading experience that is always engaging. That's it for this episode of Design Mind. A new episode is released every Monday and Thursday. Find us on the web at www.designmind.info. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/designmindinfo. You can also find us on iTunes. We'd love it if you could leave us a review at any of these places. Until next time, happy designing!